So with less money coming in, does that mean we're going to get a big name free agent? I don't think so.
The budget may be constrained even further. And here's the thing is the Rays, based on things that have been out there in the media, they get a pretty good chunk of change from their TV deal. In fact, Forbes estimated their TV revenue in 2023 at $56 million. Typically, local TV rights fees account for roughly 12 to 32%.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays. From game analysis to player interviews, we've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
Bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
Whether you're a diehard fan who vividly remembers longest game 162 just like us,
or you remember the early Devil Ray days of Wade Boggs and Carl Crawford,
we're here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our sixth season covering the Rays daily.
And every season up till now, they've gone to the playoffs, but you can still go out there and grab your favorite Rays gear, settle in, subscribe to our Locked On Rays YouTube channel and other podcast platforms. You can also find us on X and Instagram at Locked On Rays.
This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONMLB to win $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
All right, Ulises, on today's episode, it had been a topic we had been meaning to get to, but other things came up in the way. Like a hurricane, multiple hurricanes, in fact. But I think we're actually going to get to it today. And that is this. The Rays, it appears, will need a new TV home for 2025 as Bally will be halting their contract. Diamond Sports Group, the company that operates Bally Sports Regional Network, said in a recent bankruptcy court that it was halting its contract with the Rays and Tigers. So not only do the Rays have to deal with building a brand new stadium, figuring out where they're going to play in 2025 and maybe the next 3 years, now they have the TV situation up in the air, as if the C-suite with the Rays doesn't have enough to deal with. Here's another thing to put on their plate, along with trying to build a winning ball club again.
It must be very tense.
Yes.
Very stressful times for everybody involved. It's one punch after the other. And some punches you've seen them come. Hey, we're trying to build a stadium. We want to take this punch in the face, and all that entails. But also, some have been unforeseen, a.k.a. Wander Franco, a.k.a. the roof being completely obliterated by a storm. And by the way, just a small parenthesis before we get into this, Durham came out with a statement today that if a lot of Rays fans haven't seen, it basically said, hey, we haven't had any discussions, but it would be pretty difficult for us to host people here because we have other games to host. So
yeah, and I said that on the mailbag episode, and I've said that throughout, maybe more internally than externally. But the fact that I'm glad you added that parentheses there. I didn't read the statement, but I saw the statement. I think it's going to be really challenging for the Rays to play in a baseball stadium that already houses another major league team or minor league team. There's just too many moving parts.
Too many.
Difficult.
Too many. So, yeah, everybody wants Steinbrenner, which we get it. It's in Tampa. Of course, it'd be awesome. You know, do we not know who the Yankees are? Like, I get so
that would be
exasperated really when people say Steinbrenner. I feel like it's not going to happen, people. It's not going to happen. Anyway, letting it go. Zen moment. Port Charlotte. I think that was my number one. But then again, even though you own, like, that's your affiliate itself, they also have games. And yeah, it is high.
They have complex league Well, they have complex league games there.
Complex league games.
Yeah.
So
they don't have that affiliate. But I mean,
the other options,
right?
It would be places. The best options in this case would be places that don't have a schedule. So I liked your Reds spring training idea. I get it that it would be a lot of money to be put into so that it's like an actual okay major league baseball stadium.
It's habitable for a pro ball team.
Take out the rats. I get it. It would be a lot, but that aspect of, hey, we don't have to deal with the scheduling aspect of it would be good. And also Orlando, the Disney Wide World of Sports seems like that would be a good case. But you know what? With going back to the Bally Sports thing, you have to have equipment being brought into these places, setting them up correctly. This is not a one-day thing. Has to be. It's not just baseball we have to focus on. We don't have to focus on the 9 innings of this. It's all of the entertainment aspect of it that is so big.
Well, I guess that's the question is, do the Rays have to, well, one of the many questions, do they have to figure out where they're going to play first and then navigate whatever comes with the TV, or figure out where the games are going to be broadcast and then where they're going to play? Or it's all fluid and it all ties in together one way or the other? Just finding solutions to problems that pop up left and right.
Right, exactly.
Just like a city government after a hurricane. It's
exactly.
Just, whack-a-mole.
What are we doing? Is this like a waterfall project, or a continuous one? Like one part of me thinks you need to know where you're gonna be putting the bleeping cameras, because maybe that affects the pricing, right? It's more in Lakeland than in Disney, than in Port Charlotte, than in Tampa and Hillsborough County. Like I don't know. Do you guys know? I don't know.
No,
I have no clue. But maybe contracts work that way where it would be different. So maybe you would need to know to figure out that situation first, or maybe you can do it both at the same time. Say, hey, if and then statements like, if we play here, the cost would be this. If we play here, the cost would be this. Right. Maybe that's a way to go. But this is just another punch in the face that this Rays organization has to deal with. And I understand that.
And not to mention the Wander stuff, too. We haven't even talked about that. I mean, it's pretty much, well, we know he's not going to play for the Rays, but having that situation up in the air of, are we going to get our money back or not? What's going to be the outcome of that matter?
And before we get to really dive deep into that, Kevin, I need to hear from you if I have some green Skittles.
Yes.
And I don't want to lose those green Skittles. I want to make more green Skittles. Where do I go?
We all need to make more green Skittles, and you could go to Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions, I said billions with a B, of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need a win to receive the $50 bonus. That is guaranteed. Prize Picks, cool thing, they offer weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineup. So go ahead, download the app today and use code LOCKDOWNMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. So good, I'll repeat it again. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
So let's give folks a big picture here. What would happen if this all goes kaput?
Yeah.
The Rays either have to arrange coverage elsewhere or renegotiate with Diamond to stay on Bally for lower right fees.
Yeah.
With those discussions already underway. So with lower fees means less money, people that is going to be entering the Rays pockets. And if the Rays have a reputation for something is not for being big spenders. So with less money coming in, does that mean we're gonna get a big name free agent? I don't think so.
The budget may be constrained even further. And here's the thing is the Rays, based on things that have been out there in the media, they get a pretty good chunk of change from their TV deal. In fact, Forbes estimated their TV revenue in 2023 at $56 million. Typically, local TV rights fees account for roughly 12 to 32% of a team's revenue. And we know the Rays get maybe not so much in the attendance arena, but a lot of people do watch their games. They consistently get high marks on those ratings as far as that goes. So that's the thing, is how much of a discount are the Rays willing to give to be back with Diamond Sports Group, back on Bally Sports? Or do they ultimately go with the alternative of, hey, we'll just have MLB produce it and make it available direct to consumer? Or, which I think is probably a more pie in the sky measure of, we'll just create our own sports network and run broadcasting through that. I feel like they've got too many other things on their mind to get a Yes network up and running.
If you didn't have to have a new stadium being built and your face of the franchise being a possible convict in another country for decades, or you didn't have your roof just being obliterated by a hurricane, maybe you're like, hey, we should form our own baseball network. That would be kind of cool. Not now. So I think I'm agreeing with you. I don't think that one is any shape, way, or form on the table right now. Maybe it was at some point, but maybe right now I don't think it would be feasible for them to just take on another huge undertaking. But I do believe that it would be kind of cool for MLB to just produce this whole thing.
I think that would probably be the clean measure. And it's not,
for fans, it would be the best way, Kev.
Yeah. And it's not totally out of the realm of possibility, because we're starting to see teams do that. Like the Twins recently made an agreement to do that very thing. I think other teams are getting on board, or already have been on board. And there's even been question of MLB just taking over the whole league and doing some sort of direct to consumer measure. And I mean, I do have to give credit to MLB. Their advanced media is the leader as far as technology and innovation goes. So much so that I know some people that have worked for other sports franchises, and you actually have other leagues that purchase or utilize their technology and software for streaming, say, NHL games and so forth. So I feel like that would be a nice avenue. But what I wonder is how much money would the Rays potentially lose, if at all, if they go that route? I mean, in a perfect world, and here's what I don't know. Here's what I want to try to get to the bottom of. If MLB takes it over, would it still be broadcast on television somewhere? Would it still be broadcast on a cable channel? Would it still be broadcast, or maybe be broadcast on a local channel? I mean, I feel like you want to try to, you don't want to just limit yourself to online only, as much as that's where things are going. I feel like for the visibility factor, making it as accessible as possible is imperative, assuming that you can get some money on advertising dollars and brokering and things like that.
This is not being ageist. Follow along with me, folks. Please, step by step. This is not ageist. The average MLB fan, I think we did this like a trivia question a couple years ago, was like 52, which is the oldest average age for the four major teams. So,
and it'll probably always be that way, I would I would presume.
So we're right that's the starting point. The average MLB fan is around 52. Okay. Next step. Tampa Bay Rays. I think Florida would be one of the the states of the union that is crossing a little bit more into the older generation.
Correct.
Okay, that's step 2. That means the average race fan that is tuning in should probably be around that age. And usually, Grandpa Joe is not going to be going on the websites to look up a baseball game when he can just click and he knows that channel 31 and he sees his beloved race.
Yeah.
Or
They don't like giving their credit card numbers online. That's a barrier to entry.
Exactly. So I would hope that that's the case. But then again, you're looking at an organization that has always done things differently.
Yeah.
And looked at things on how to do it a little bit more efficiently and be pioneers. And you know what? Like a few years ago, was it maybe 4 or 5 years ago when they went cashless?
Yeah, and we actually brought up to think about it. And now, I mean, it seems to be working. It was there were some hiccups, like there's always going to be, but I think now that they've really fine-tuned it to make it about as easy as possible, and you see other teams and sports franchises and I would assume entertainment venues going that route as well.
So there will be hiccups, but they got it done with the whole cashless thing, the mobile ticketing as well. So is this another option where they'll go and, you know what, we're going to be online only? Maybe that's something that they choose to do. It just seems like it would be a little bit difficult to get the ground moving there. Not for the younger generation. The younger generation, I think, would love it. Not to put myself as a young guy, as a young buck here, but I think it would be great for MLB to do this, because then I buy my freaking $80 a year, and guess what? Maybe for $20 more, then I can see every team. Now that's something that I, as a baseball fan, would love to say, because I'm not going to pay MLB TV for every other team that's not the race. That's ridiculous.
Nobody has time for that. Everybody watches highlights and clips anyway, outside of their own respective team for the most part.
Exactly.
So, and I believe some of the price estimates, if the Rays were to go the MLB production route, you're looking at $19.99 a month, $100 for the year, which I think is a pretty. That's fair. That's fair. Assuming that when you log on and log in and you have a good internet connection, that the stream still works, because that was my biggest issue with Bally.
Yeah.
Because half the time, TV, when I synced it up, not so much, but phone was a disaster. iPad was a disaster. And it was just like, I might as well just cancel my membership if I'm going to have to refresh it and lock it down. And it was whatever it was, it wasn't working. So
if we're not working 50% of the time, that's an issue. And guys, maybe that's happening to you. And you want things to happen all the time really good. Sometimes intimate moments happen spontaneously, and you want to perform right then and there. So today, HIMS is able to change men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your own couch. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/locked on. That's HIMS.com/locked on for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/locked on.
All right. So we mentioned that having MLB produce the games may be the cleanest route, and that could be the case. Maybe to reframe it, perhaps the easiest route would just be to sign one more year with Bally at a lesser price until you get stadium, roof, so many other things situated. But I feel like if the Rays were going to do that, they need to know what's going to happen with Wander Franco's contract, because they're likely going to have to accept a lesser amount there. And you just say, okay, if we know pretty much for a fact that Wander's contract is off the table, then that means we could more so live with the, instead of Bally, getting, I'm just going to throw out a number, $50 million from Bally in 2025, we'll take 40 or 42 million from Bally in 2025.
And good point on Wander Franco. He is due to be paid $8 million in 2025. $8 million, I think like 20 or so teams would sneeze and $8 million would come out.
Yeah.
That's not the case for the Tampa Bay Rays. So it has to be said $8 million for somebody that's not going to play.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if the whole court scenario, legal scenario, it keeps getting delayed and pushed back.
Right.
Crazy. I'm so out of the loop with that. I guess you just put them on the restricted list again. But I mean, then what if a court date pops up in May? I don't know.
Yeah. So and his is not the only contract that is guaranteed for 2025. I mean, you got Yandy Diaz that's by 10 million. Jeffrey Springs 10.5. You got the option, the team option for Brandon Lau for 10.5. You've got Pete Fairbanks at 3.6, and you've got Shane McClanahan at 3.6. So you have money that you need to pay in 2025 already, plus the arbitration. Like, this could potentially be a big hit if the lower fees that are being paid to the Rays from Diamond lower too much to the point where now they have to, that it affects their team construction. How does that affect? Is Eric Neander going to be getting calls and text messages from Stu saying, hey, by the way, the thing we talked about, reduce that by 15%.
That's always a fun call to have to deal with.
Reduced by 20%, reduced by 10%, whatever it is.
Hey, you just work within the numbers the owner gives you. Hey, you got a $70 million budget. That's you got to work with it, unfortunately.
So I know, and the whole offseason, we're going to, hammer on what went wrong, what could go right, what are steps for the 2024 seasons to just be gone and never see it again for the foreseeable future. But this is something huge that could affect team construction. And people, I think, need to realize that, we want more offense. But you know what? In baseball, you need to pay for offense. A lot of the time. You can trade for a young kid and he explodes. Awesome. Good for you. But even then, Isaac Paredes gets traded anyway. So those things happen.
That's fair. And whatever happens with the TV situation, I mean, I guess, some larger questions that I have generally is, would the crew still remain? Would Trisha be a part of the team? Would Ryan Bass be a part of the team? Would Dwayne be a part of the team? Would BA be part of the team?
I have the answer from Trisha's mouth.
Okay.
In the 2024 Fan Fest. I think you were right there with me.
I was and I wasn't.
You were out of there already.
I'm always out of it. Yeah.
We heard her say, as there were fans talking to Trish, and I think she said, no matter what happens, we would be there.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's
good to know. Yeah.
Although BA, I mean, not BA, but Dwayne, he is, I mean, we all know it. He's getting long in the tooth. At what point is he going to step down? We saw
more vacation from him this year.
Yes. I think he's taking a lot more vacations. We're starting to see Andy Freed do television calls, which I think he would weave in pretty seamlessly. I think he would be a good fit there. And that's the other thing too, is if the Rays go with the MLB production thing, I would hope you still have the ability to toggle in the radio broadcast, sync it with the TV broadcast. I always loved that when I was living or out of market and was able to watch Rays games on MLB TV. But I just wanted to make that note about Dwayne. I would think, I mean, even if he does, like, he could do a retired on duty thing where, hey, I want to be able to call some games when the new stadium opens. So
that would be
tear down my schedule. Like, hey, I'm going to go from calling 150 games to 110 games to 80 games to 40 games. I just want to be able to call a couple when the Taj Mahal is built.
I would love it if Dwayne were to do the opening day 2028. I think we all would just love that. And you know what? If BA was there, awesome to have BA there. Ran into him the last weekend of the year, and he was awesome as always. Got me a story that I had never heard from his playing days in Venezuela. So that was nice.
Awesome.
But yeah, no, I really hope that they would stay. But this is an ongoing thing,
Yes,
and there
it
will
is.
be much more development. So this is just a little appetizer of this topic, because I know that we're going to get more information, and when we do, we'll talk about it again.
More to come. In the meantime, thank you for making Locked On Rays your first listen every day. For your second, find Locked On MLB. Prepare for the Fall Classic with our buddy Soli, who has it all covered every single day. Find Locked On MLB on the YouTubes or wherever you listen to podcasts.